It's a true challenge to eat for $10 for a week in 2022.
It takes some creativity, but I believe it is possible and anybody can do it.
Welcome to Meals with Maria.
Hi, welcome to Meals with Maria. Today I have a $10 1 week for one person extreme grocery budget challenge for you. You guys have asked for this for a long time, and I'll tell you that it is one of the hardest challenges that I have ever done. I think, make it work, so I feel good about that. We tried to have as much variety as possible, but it is very difficult, as you may know, to make sure that you have the proper nutrition and variety when you are doing a challenge like this and you do have such a tight budget. Because I am not a single person, I am a woman with a husband and a family of 3 young boys. It's difficult for me to eat the actual 7 days worth of food during that time period. So I do typically feed the food to my kids, to my boys, to my husband, and we have it kind of as breakfasts and lunches and dinners. I do make sure there's enough servings for one person to eat for 7 full days, 3 meals a day. I always try and say with these challenges that if you are struggling with food insecurity, there's really nothing to be ashamed of, and that there are always people there to help. People go through tough times, and you should reach out to your local church or food pantry to get the help that you need. Also, if you have the ability to, please make sure to donate either canned goods, fresh goods. Find out what your local food pantry needs, because a lot of times they have a nice list, especially around the holiday season. Or cash is always super helpful, because a lot of them have programs where they actually are connected to places where they do get their fresh food, but they do need money in order to pay for that. I'm going to kind of go through everything that I purchased with my $10, what my intentions are to make with that, and then we'll go through all the recipes.
So here's everything that I purchased at Walmart with my $10, and I actually left off my carrots here, so I also had a small package of carrots. For breakfast, I was able to buy this large size, great value, complete pancake and waffle mix. And with that, we're going to make some carrot cake pancakes, as well as some waffles with a banana. I bought 3 bananas, and you can do a banana topping on that. Both of those things are going to be flavorful enough so that if you don't have syrup, they're going to be delicious. And we actually end up with 16 servings, so there ends up being a little bit extra to have for snacks. For lunch, I grabbed some chicken picante ramen for 33 cents, just for a little bit of variety, but that's just going to be lunch for one day. For the rest of our meals, because you just don't get a ton of variety when you are buying so little food for the entire week, we're going to have a pinto bean soup made out of the $1 pinto beans, and we're going to use some of those as well in a chili. The carrots were 98 cents. Half of those will be used in our carrot cake pancakes, and half of them will be used in the pinto bean soup. The pinto bean soup is also going to use 1 can of fire roasted diced tomatoes, and those are $1.36. They're a little bit more expensive than your regular diced tomatoes, but they bring a ton of flavor. I bought 1 red onion for 57 cents, and I'm going to divide that up between the chili and the pinto bean soup. Also for the chili, I bought a can of black beans for 78 cents and a can of chili tomatoes for 76 cents. Those tomatoes are a really good choice because they already have a lot of flavoring in them. I bought 1 large sweet potato for $1.07, and we're going to actually break that in half, cook it, and then we're going to serve some of the chili over that. So that's an option for serving the chili. And then I also bought 1 package of mac and cheese for 43 cents, and that's going to make a chili mac with the rest of the chili. Now, I bought 1 package of some chicken bouillon for 72 cents, but if I was going to go back and do this again, I would have actually swapped that out for a big package, a 1-pound package of rice, because that would have added so much more sustenance to this 1-week meal. So we can kind of talk about that and pretend that maybe I had made the right purchase with the rice, and I think that this would have been a lot more hearty. So we're just going to kind of play this out over what would look like a week. So the day before, the day you go shopping, you actually want to soak all of your pinto beans. Obviously, if you have an Instant Pot or something and you can cook them faster, you go ahead and do that. I'm going to cook everything kind of the old-fashioned way because I know not everybody has all of those appliances. You just want to put a good amount of water in here to soak these beans, because when you check on them tomorrow, they will have doubled in size. The morning one, you just want to start by shredding about half the package of carrots. You can do this kind of in whatever order you want. If you want to start with your waffles and bananas, or your carrot pancakes, or if you want to make carrot waffles, or you want to make banana pancakes, you can do whatever you want in this situation. But I'm just going to grate about half of my carrots up, and I'm just going to mix those directly into the pancake mix, to the pancake batter, as the instructions call for. Now, I find that sometimes the instructions make it like really thick and lumpy, and I don't like it like that. So I'll just add an extra water. You can kind of make it however you want. And then a sprinkle of cinnamon in there is going to do some amazing things. So if you have cinnamon on hand, go ahead and sprinkle some in, maybe a half a teaspoon or a teaspoon, or if you like even more, go for it because it's really not going to hurt. And that's really what's going to give it that carrot cake flavor, right? To have the pancake with the carrot and the cinnamon, and it's going to be spectacular. Then you just want to cook those over a medium low heat. I never want to cook my pancakes over a high heat. They will burn. They need to cook all the way through. And the key to cooking a nice fluffy pancake is you want to get those little circles or like holes through the middle, and they're actually going to help to make your pancakes stand up and be fluffier. So once those holes show up, then that's when you know that you can start to flip your pancake. This made 11 pancakes like this, so you can have 2 a day for 5 days. You could have 3 a day for 3 days. However you want to do it, you could have them as snacks. They are really delicious. They're a great snack. You don't need to put anything extra on them because of all that flavor that they get from the carrots and the cinnamon. Like I said, for us, it just doesn't make sense for me to eat this over the entire week, so I did serve this to my kids, and Tommy loved it.
Can you tell me what you think?
I'm 5 out of 5.
You think, Benny? They good? Benjamin!
To reheat these through the week, I just like to keep them in the fridge and then just pop them in the toaster or even the microwave and warm them up. Now, once your beans are soaked, like I said, they're doubled in size. We're going to drain them off, and then I do want to cook them so that they are fully cooked before I even put them in my soup. Pour them into a stock pot, cover them with 10 cups of water, and then I'm using one of my chicken bouillon cubes, but had I not bought chicken bouillon, I just would have used an extra salt. Then I'm putting in a sprinkle of onion powder. If you have fresh onion, you can put that in there. A sprinkle of oregano. If you have fresh, again, you can use that too. And a sprinkle of garlic powder. And if you have fresh garlic, go ahead. You want to bring this up to a boil and then cover and reduce to low and simmer for 1.5 to 2.5 hours. I was surprised that mine were done in about an hour and a half. So go ahead and check them. If they are ready, you will know they are beans. They will be like canned, cooked beans. They're going to be cooked all the way through. They're not going to be hard at all. Now for lunch on day 1 or whenever you want, you can make your ramen noodles. I'm just going to cook them up according to the package. Going to boil some water, throw those noodles in there, then throw the packet in. It takes about 3 minutes once it's boiling. It's super fast and delicious. Choose your favorite flavor. And then I actually shredded up like 2 of those small baby carrots and sliced up a tiny bit of red onion because, hey, I had it on hand. It makes everything a little bit more flavorful, a little bit more fancy. It feels like you get a little more sustenance in there, and it's really just a delicious lunch. It's just something to kind of switch things up so you're not eating pinto bean soup you still are going to eat pinto bean soup every day, but it's just something a little bit different. So yes, for dinner, we're going to have pinto bean soup, and that should last you pretty much the whole week, especially if you have some rice. You can just put it on top of the rice and give you a little bit more. If you're worried about it like not lasting, you can actually freeze half of it and then take it out for the second half of the week. And so I'm just going to strain out the beans. We're going to end up using this bean broth, which is another reason why I realized I really didn't need those chicken bouillon cubes, because the bean broth itself is going to be so flavorful that you can use that in the soup and you don't have to actually worry about chicken broth. I'm making 2 times the recipe, which ends up being 4 cans of pinto beans, which is about 56 ounces. Just want to dice up the rest of your carrots, cut those small. They're going to be in the soup. You want to make sure that they get cooked all the way through. And then you want to dice up half of the red onion, and then we're going to save the other half to make chili. And after setting aside the 56 ounces of beans for the soup, I did drain out the broth, and we're going to use that. And then that actually allowed me to grab the rest of the beans that were in there. And there were quite a few, maybe like a cup and a half, and I was able to use those in the chili as well. For your soup, add your oil of choice to the bottom of a soup pot over medium heat. Add your onions and cook for about 5 minutes. Add in your diced carrots, your fire roasted diced tomatoes. And I forgot to mention this at the beginning, but we are assuming that you have some sort of fat or oil to cook in, and then also assuming you have some sort of spice cabinet. You're going to use about 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika, 2 teaspoons of oregano, and 2 teaspoons of cumin. And because I really should be using 2 diced onions, I'm just going to add about a teaspoon of onion powder. Add a bay leaf or 2 if you have them. I only had 1, and mix it up. Because I had it, I did use a chicken bouillon cube in this, but like I said, maybe it would be a better choice to purchase that rice. So if you did want to purchase the rice, you just want to use that broth that you have from the beans and maybe a little bit of extra salt to taste. And that is 8 cups of the bean broth. And then you want to bring this to a boil and then let it simmer for about 10 minutes over low heat and turn the heat down. And at that point, you can add in your beans and let it cook for another 10 minutes. And it turns out just like this, delicious. And at that point, you can actually take half of it and put it into a blender, or you can use an immersion blender like I'm using and just put that right in the soup. And we're gonna just basically, you want half of it to be kind of blended, and it's gonna make the soup nice and thick, and it really gives it a really, really nice texture. And this should be 7 meals worth of food. So we made a ton of food. We made double the recipe. This is a nice, thick, flavorful soup. I mean, I don't know that I would get bored of it, but I mean, I can see how it would be boring to eat the same thing for 7 days. But with such a tight budget like this, you really do need to, sometimes you miss the ability to switch things up. Now, if you bought rice, I would cook the rice and I would actually serve it over about half of the rice. So kind of break it out, and you want to use half of that whole container of rice and then break that up over 7 portions, and it would be delicious over rice as well. Now, once you made it through your pancakes, it's going to be time to make your waffles, like I said, or vice versa, however you want to do it. I'm just going to use the rest of my pancake mix. Now, I didn't realize that this complete mix does say that you need to use an egg if you want to make waffles, but tell you the truth, it's just not true. I added a little bit of oil, just vegetable oil, because I always find that tends to be in waffle recipes, and I think it helps to make them, I don't know, a little bit crispier. So I did add a little oil. You totally don't have to have done it without it before, and it's fine. And then you just want to add water until it seems like it's the right consistency. Again, you don't want to make sure it's too thick, too thin. Because this is the last of it, you do want to be careful, like not to add too much water, because you can't really go back. But then I just used my waffle iron and made waffles. Like I said, if you don't have a waffle iron, you can just go with regular pancakes. You could do pancakes where you slice up the banana and put it inside the pancakes. That's a really good way to have pancakes as well. So kind of the choices are endless when it comes to this. And then for the banana topping option, you can just slice up a banana or a half a banana, and you can use either oil or butter. I just decided to use a little bit of butter because I did have it on hand. And you want to cook that over medium heat, and you're going to caramelize those bananas. And caramelized bananas, if you've ever had them, are absolutely amazing. If you have like a little packet of sugar, you can add that in too. It'll make it taste even better. But I just did mine in butter, and you just cook them on one side and then you flip them. And then I added a little bit of cinnamon to mine, because why not? I had it in my spice cabinet. But again, if you don't have it, it's going to be fine without it. It just really brings out the natural sugar in those bananas, and it tastes delicious over waffles or pancakes. So at this point, we have 6 more meals to make, and I'm going to make up some chili, and then I'm also going to cook up a sweet potato, and we'll have chili over sweet potato for 2 days, and then we're going to make chili mac for the 4 remaining meals. And yeah, I had a baby in my arms while I was piercing that potato, so it still happens. So you want to pierce your potato and then cook it in the oven for about 50 to 60 minutes. You want to make sure that it's fully cooked through and that it's, an edible potato that you would want to have. And then I'm just going to slice up my second half of my onion, pour about a tablespoon of oil in a pot over medium heat, then add your onion, and we're going to cook those down for about 5 minutes. To that, you want to add 2 tablespoons of chili powder. I'm only adding 1 here, but I did add another one later because I just felt like it wasn't enough flavor. Then I'm adding a teaspoon of garlic powder, a half a teaspoon of cumin, a half a teaspoon of smoked paprika, and a half a teaspoon of oregano. Go ahead and add salt and pepper to taste to this. And then just going to mix that around. Make sure that those spices get toasted. It actually helps to toast them for just a few seconds. Then you want to add in your chili tomatoes, the rest of the pinto beans that were left over from the pinto bean soup, and then that can of black beans just drained and rinsed. And I found that I thought this was a little too thick, so I ended up adding about a cup of water to it. Then you want to cook that for about 15 minutes over that medium-low heat. And you notice on the side there, I am boiling water because we're also going to get our chili mac ready. You can cook up the macaroni, and then we don't actually have milk or butter to make the macaroni and cheese, but once you mix that packet of cheese mixture just in with a little bit of the pasta water, it really turns out quite all right. And then, especially because we're going to mix that in with the chili anyway, you're just going to get that cheese flavor. And yeah, you don't have milk and butter, but it still tastes really good. So you can see that I reserved 2 portions of that chili so that it could be served over the sweet potato. And then there's about 4 portions here of chili mac. And if we didn't buy, we could also not buy the macaroni and cheese potentially to kind of help with cost and buy that rice. Although I think it's only like a 10-cent difference. So you could do the chili over rice as well and serve macaroni and cheese separately, however you want to do it. And then you can see here, I just sliced that sweet potato in half and then serve the chili over it. This is absolutely phenomenal. I love having a sweet potato with chili on top. There is so much flavor in this and it is so hearty. And that is going to do it for the last 6 meals. So that was $10 for breakfast, lunch, and dinner at Walmart for one person. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to click on this next video if you want to see another great extreme grocery budget challenge.
Someone like